Meeting is being recorded. Okay. So Maslow's pyramid, difference between sales and marketing. So I'm having some eye problem. I can't see very far. So why don't you come sit closer? And don't sit in the same seat you sat in the morning. Sorry. That is mandatory rule. That's okay. Fair enough. Mandatory rule. You have to sit in a different seat. Host would like to unmute. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, you can.
You know, it's always good to reposition yourself. You start thinking a little differently. Is that okay? So why am I still not getting more responses for the class? Review of class. Have you completed this review of class? New share. I'm referring to this screen. I want to know how many of you have updated this.
Does
You
it
got the
sound-
link? The link is on WhatsApp. Sir, my voice is okay now, but you're using this or that? Because I'm unmute here also. Muted, huh? Okay. So can we increase the speaker volume? Okay. There is a disconnect. How many of you you got the link? Done?
I don't have the link.
Sir, we
I
have
not
not
see
received
it.
the link.
Pardon?
Not received the link, sir.
You will see it on WhatsApp. On the WhatsApp group, you will say section B. Let's complete this as we begin the class. So what happened was in yesterday's class, we spent almost 15 minutes with section A. Almost 15 minutes trying to do this. So I thought I'll save some time. Not a great idea, right? We didn't really save time. Okay. So I get a few more and then we'll move forward. But if you believe that 136, I'll wait till 140. And then you don't do it now, make sure you do it. The simple rule is this. At any point, I'm going to refer to what answers you gave when I give you your marks on assignment 1 or 2. So I believe I'm just not able to make up what's your name? Poonam. Oh, yeah, of course. You did tell me last time, and you're from Calcutta, or correct. So, so what if I'm a little bit confused at how to give her a marks? I'll also look at how you have answered these points. So no, so I'm saying do it now, but if you don't do it now, make sure you've done it. That's the point I'm saying. That's the point I'm saying. So now I'll notice that he's not even doing it now. He's not
Yes,
even
sir.
going to do it tomorrow. I'm just
Yes,
giving
sir,
one
we'll start
example. So
we'll
now I
start
know, well, that's
we'll-
his,
Sir, we'll submit after class.
yeah, okay, the same one. All these questions were asked. There's another one. You got to get used to Google Forms. Okay, what about you? Oh, okay. No problem. Now, are you on WhatsApp? So fill it up and take a chance, take a shot at it. And I like to see what you answer. Okay, that's it. That's the class size. Yeah, so we can even assume that everybody's in, right? Yeah, it's okay. Another 2-3 minutes, and then we'll start our class today. I even asked you all to pre-class 2 responses. Pre-class 2. Yeah, this is what you guys filled up, right? Section B. That one who filled up this? Business idea. So what was your business idea? One of you? Who's here? Vaishnavi, are you here? Love for animals can be turned into a business. Somebody I read had a good business idea from Cloud Kitchen. Why should I see there? I can see here. Follow me. What were you saying? Convincing people, transport, opening a food chain. It will focus on consulting nutritionists with customized food will be delivered through a monthly subscription. Okay, so good idea of opening a food chain. What are the problems you will face? Is convincing people. Why? Hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. We can give them a good one. So challenger convincing people, transporting, planning, executional, and analysis. Okay, that's what you're saying, are you? No, no, no. No, no, you said, sorry, I read the next line. Yeah, capital, guidance, and marketing. What is marketing? How to promote, how to promote. Okay, so she's saying that we'll give them uh, nutritious food. It may not be tasty. It may not be tasty, but as subscribed by the nutritionist. Okay, how many of you know Safola? Safola, what do they make? Before oats, oil. So when Safola made oil, everybody loved it. Safola oil was a very lovely hit, heart ke liye bhi or something else. That's what they said. Yeah. So they felt that they had won the hearts of the people. And they say that this is the best time for us to bring out snacks. So they said, we'll bring out Safola snacks. Now, unfortunately, Safola snacks just didn't do well in the market. The reason why Safola snacks didn't do well is that once in a while, I want to spoil myself. Once in a while, I want to have a cheat day. I can't all the time be thinking about good food or nutritious food. And especially when I'm watching IPL, I want to eat kurkure and not, yeah. So one of the reasons, and that's very true, is convincing people. One of the reasons is just because you have a brand name which is associated with health, you just can't get into all kinds of sectors. Okay, good. Well done. And let's get to class. So if you all have done this review, still see a lot of you yet to come in, but never mind, we'll start the class all the same. Okay. New share, and we'll do this. Share. Okay, I can go full screen if it makes your life easier. Perfect. You finish this? Brilliant. So now I'm going to do two things. Is I'll be walking here once in a while and then also using the video. Okay. So let's start a business. Great idea. She gave some good idea. So what do we need to start a business? 5 things we need to start a business. Let's write down. Planning. How do you spell planning with a double N? Too many N's here, no? I can't plan that also. Okay, planning, capital. Guys, online, also you must give me your answers. Finance, okay, capital, another word for that is finance. Go ahead, it doesn't matter. You don't have to. I want each of you to say something. Idea,
People.
idea,
People.
huh?
People.
People, HR.
Yeah. HR or
No.
employee, but that way.
Strategy. Strategy will come in planning. Is this correct spelling? Okay.
Effective market.
Target market. Okay. Target market. Okay.
Effective marketing.
What is that?
Effective marketing.
Effective marketing.
Business location.
Effective marketing. Business.
Location.
Business location. What is market? Market requirement. Okay. Product. Of course. Yeah, you must have something, right? You can't just sell product. Yeah, okay. So what do we use for that? Market analysis, huh? Okay. Competitions, yeah, because what's the big point, right? Competitors. So what else you need? Yeah, 2 slides behind. I will make them up today. Thanks. I have those 2 slides which come in between. Yeah. See, the problem is that the groups have been formed with you and the ones in the other thing. So I'll also talk about what your assignment is. So we'll also discuss how to do it. Yeah. Anything else? Are we missing out anything? Or possibly, what is the meaning of target market? Yeah. So so the most important thing you need is customers, right? So you need a customer. So that is the yesterday's class. We got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess more or less whoever said target market also meant customer. So which was good. Yesterday's in section A, we almost went 15, but we forgot to mention customer. So good. So this is probably what we need to start a business. So we are going to spend next 10 minutes trying to understand all of this and eventually focus on the market, target market. Then maybe we'll talk about competition. We'll of course spend a lot of time talking about consumer. Then we'll also talk about the product in a limited way. What is somebody online said business location? What does that mean? Example, give me an example of a bad business location. Give me an example of a good business location. Okay. Okay. Any other example? Good business location is very important.
It is correlated with the market.
A pub in
target market.
may not be a great idea. A big pub in a small village. Okay. 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 Fair enough. Fair enough. Good understanding of the word. Okay. So now let's see what's next. That's provided I know how to do this. Okay. So it's more or less what you said so far. It's more or less what you said. We said that you must have a mission and objective. What is that? Mission and vision. Any idea what it is? Who's going to volunteer to get up and do a small bit of work for me? Nobody. Okay, come. As you step out near the lift, you will find a board. No, just read. It says vision and mission. Just read and try to. I don't want you to by heart it. Just give us an idea of what's written there. Okay. So what is while he comes back, what do you think? All of us must have a purpose in life, right? Why did you join the MBA program? Well, I had nothing else to do. It's not really a good idea. It's not really a good idea. Okay, well, you were watching a movie. I think it's okay. I had nothing else to do and things like that. But I think for greater objectiveness, there must be a reason why you come. There must be a reason. What would I be doing 18 months from now? Hopefully that will turn up into better salaries. You become your boss's boss. That's the best thing that can happen to you, right? And then of course, so that is the vision part of it. But then mission would be something. How do I go in that direction? For example, there are two ways in which you could have gone forward. Let's take somebody who's doing his engineering. We could have told that he could have gone further into specialization into engineering. He could have done something like that, or you choose to do an MBA. So there is both of which are towards the greater vision. That, so long sentence or short sentence? The vision for Dayanand Sagar University is to be a center of excellence. Yeah. Great entrepreneurs. Yeah. Yeah. And something like that. And then that's the vision. Mission? To have a facility to provide the state of these services. So that's more or less, yeah. So what you're going to say is, cool, thank you very much. Okay, so what happened was, I just realized that there was a vision mission statement, and it'll be crazy if I asked all of you to go and watch it, read it as such. So what are they saying? Is that there is an objective with all of us. There's an objective behind it. I want to be in a center of excellence. I want to provide the best of the teaching. These are soft services, right? I want to provide the best of the excellence. I could still provide best of the teaching sitting under a tree. Yeah, I mean, what's wrong with it? But what they're saying, our mission is to provide the best of the facility as well. So, and there would be a third word. If somebody was really keen, he would use the word objective. The third letter would be objective, which means that how did I do last year? Last year, I think I provided all air conditioning facility, but we didn't have a touch screen. So, or something like that. So how do I progressively see my performance? Last year, we managed to get about 100 people to join this class. This year, we probably have 150. So I have done well. Last year, the guys who passed out, one of them went to become a vice president of his company. And this year, I hope 3 of them do that. So that is all the way we look at how we have progressed. Okay, so we have something called a mission. What are we up to? Then objectives. How do we go about it? Then there is a team, like somebody said, brilliant. Somebody said, without a team, how could I do it, right? Without a team, how could I do it? And then there is marketing. We'll spend all our class talking about marketing, of course, and tactics. What is tactics?
Strategy.
tactic?
Strategies.
Strategy. Tactics is strategy. And strategy normally associated with competitors
Reaching
or
to customer.
better way of getting your consumer.
Re-
Okay.
Reaching to customer.
And then, of course, there's no money. There's no business plan, right? Okay. So this is what we are doing. This is one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is in this chart. We'll go by whichever we are looking at. Okay. So this is what is a business plan. It's a well-written document. It has to be a nice document. And eventually your assignment one, you will have to write a business plan. You have to tell me why you believe that I should be interested in what you're doing. And so that's something that you will have to write. It's a well-written document, and the document could be for two people. It could be for your boss who is interested in the money, or it could be for your own internal people. So every time I walk into this hall, I look at the vision and mission statement. So I'm saying we want to be a center of excellence. So am I positively contributing it, or am I negatively contributing? So that's one thing that I need to constantly make sure, because the vision and mission of the company should also be percolated down to the lowest employee within the organization. So how do you do it? And the plan gets reviewed periodically. Things change. Things change. There's no guarantee that that's the best way to do it. How many of you know a place called Plan B? Huh? In a nice place to hang out? Okay. So what does Plan B say? What is Plan B?
If plan A
If A doesn't work,
you
then
should
we
have
looked at Plan B, not the Plan B that I was talking about, right? There is also another one, which I like that. I don't know who. This is some music CD company. It says there's no Plan B, Planet B. Oh, you've seen that, right? I mean, I can't. Yeah, I've seen this way. It's very, very nicely written. So many a time, what you started out to do may end up being something else. May end up being something else. So, for example, all of you know that the primary intent of coming out by Pfizer, the drug called Viagra, was to give them a better heart thing, and it turned out to be a totally very different application, right? Similarly, how many of you know a company called Red Bus? Yeah, Red Bus. Have you used their services? Very nice guys. What do they do? Online travel booking agent. Okay, but they didn't really start off like that. They didn't really start off like that. They started out like a city tour company. If you think of London and you look at the beautiful weather in London and you go on a sightseeing, you sit in a double-decker bus where the top of the bus is opened up, and then you go look around all the places there. So the guys who started Red Bus were kind of inspired by that and said, like, why don't we start one? She can sit at Vidhan Sauda, go look at all the places, Lal Bagh and all the thing. And then that's a business plan that they had. But then we are a tropical country. I mean, 6 months out of the 7, nobody wants to sit on the top of the bus at 11 p.m. or 11 in the afternoon. So nobody wants to do it. So it didn't really turn out to be a great idea. But the ones who had invested in that company said, no, we're not going to get this. We're not going to drop it off. It's all hard-earned money. You guys seem to be very smart. Let's think of something else. So you can always have a business plan which doesn't move you to think of something else. So that's exactly what Plan B is. And all the time trying to be a little more innovative. But our goal today and our conversation with all of us is not about a business plan. A business plan is just, we are looking at a marketing plan, because business plan involves HR. There's somebody who's going to teach you. There's something involved strategy. What we probably did not discuss was efficiency in manufacturing or efficiency in delivering. That somebody else is going to be. There's another subject called operation. What is that? Yeah, so they will take charge, but we'll focus on marketing. So what does a marketing plan look like? Anybody? What do you think a marketing plan would look like? No, that's why I'm sitting here, sir. And why are you asking? Right? Huh? Yeah, so you're saying that the marketing plan should talk about reaching out to the customer. Okay, what else? A strategic way to get into the market. Okay. Right product and services for the right user. Because what is the difference between sales and marketing? Marketing is, yeah, go ahead, tell me. Marketing effects on sales. Marketing is what customer wants, and sales is what the deliver. Okay, anybody else?
Marketing is also gaining what customer wants and developing the product through their opinion.
The company has a product, and what's the goal of the company? Is to go and give it to the consumer, and the consumer hopefully will give him back some money or goodwill or whatever it is, or he'll give him a mouthful for having a wrong product. But this is the transaction between the two. This is pure sales. I kept on saying that in the previous class. Marketing is listening to the customer, taking the customer feedback and saying that, listen, we want the following changes. We are not happy with what you have delivered. This notebook is not very friendly. It doesn't sit in the bag. I wish you had designed it nicely. So things like that. So marketing is listening to the customer, and then working around it, right? So this is things that we will talk about. What else? You said strategy, you said product, you said listening to the customer. What else? There's something else. What about this? Aware of the competition and understanding how do I get the better of the competition, right? That's probably, we're going to talk half a class on competition. We're going to talk about how do we fight a competitor and how do we get the better of them. Okay. Then what else? Anything else we missed out?
Market is it
This
planning?
is what is a typical marketing plan looks like. A marketing plan has got a purpose. The marketing plan has to identify a market. A marketing plan has got to see if we got an organization behind it. I give you an idea of the industry that I come from. We come from an industry of satellite manufacturing. Now, if you have any idea about satellite manufacturing, a typical satellite, if the satellite, something goes wrong with the satellite, then nothing we can do because it's right up in the sky, 36,000 kilometers, if it is a geo orbit satellite or at a lower level. So and look at the problem. The satellite, I cannot tune the satellite. I cannot play around with it. Unlike the fiber on the ground, we have been noticing that Airtel is trying to enter into the area where I have my houses, and we have ACT, who is predominantly existing player, and I take the ACT internet. So Airtel came, ran his pipes, ran his fiber, gave us the leaflets, but we were pretty happy with what the ACT services. And virtually on the road where I am, none of them took the ACT connection, or none of them took the Airtel connection. We actually wanted a Geo connection because Geo is supposed to be more nicer. So eventually those fibers are all gone. They're gone to the next road where it is, but I can't do that with the satellite. So the problem is you must know what is the purpose behind why you're launching the satellite, and what is the market? Where are you going to look at this market? And the market can change. 15 years is a typical life of a satellite. 15 years is a typical life of a satellite. Now, it takes 1 year to manufacture the satellite. So that makes it 16 years. It takes typically, let's say 1 month to find a slot to launch the satellite. They're very crowded, everybody wants to launch it. That makes it 17 years. Then I have to design. I mean, not necessarily I or anybody else. He has to design the satellite. Like type. It's not the time of building the house. Somebody needs to design the house. I mean, we have seen so many houses. I wish I had designed this for my kids. We design the house, we are assuming that kids will always be young and small, but then they grow up and the rooms are small for them, or things like that. So add another year. So 18 years. Do you have the vision in you? Do you understand what the market is going to be 18 years from now? So assuming 18 years back, so 2022 minus 18 gives you where? 2004? 4, right? 2004, no WhatsApp, no Zoom, no Netflix. All the things that somebody who had to design a telecommunication network had to visualize how the market is going to be. And maybe he said the America would be the greatest market, but it turned out to be that India and China, I mean, 2004, I guess India and China were just growing countries. So you should have a purpose. You should have a market vision. You should see how the market is going to evolve. Are you all with me? Okay. So that is it. That involves the market research. So many a time it takes 1 year of market research to see what should I come up with. Should I come up with an electric scooter, or should I, as Mr. Ola is doing now, should I come up with the electric scooter, or should I continue to be in the business of renting out cars? So that's the kind of research they do. Then you have all of these: marketing strategy, marketing tactics, and the operational plan. One way to look at it is this chart, else you can look at it from this point. But mostly these are things, as I said, definition and notes are for you to read so that you get a more clearer understanding. I don't necessarily want to read all of this, but let's see where it is. Outline of a business target market. Everybody wants internet, but where should I start my services first? Who should be my customer? When Geo started operations, I was desperate to get a Geo connection. So I used to interact with the guys in Geo. The guy said, no, we are not coming to Bangalore till we have covered Mumbai. They know where their prime market is. So they first wanted to make sure that they cover the prime city of Mumbai, and then eventually come there. Do you think they're going to be excited and go first just because somebody is from Hubli? They said first market to go is Hubli. Not going to work like that, right? So you must know what is the target market and business market demographics. We'll talk actually another half a class on what is the target market, how do I position the target market, and all that. Okay. More of the same thing. I want you to read this. I don't want to get into too much of detail. So there is a marketing department which is totally involved in making the right decision and how I should go ahead. They are But what drives them is the vision of the organization. The vision of the organization is center of excellence. So everything must go around that objective, right? We will also see more time as to why center of excellence is just not just a word. So one more time, I guess it's coming. This is a slightly more advanced graph or flow chart. So we are going to spend the next 20 minutes talking about business visions, mission. There's a word vision missing out there. I think it'll come up somewhere there. So business vision and mission statement, objective, SWOT analysis. Do you know what SWOT? Strength, weakness. So we'll not, if you know it, why would I have to teach you, right? They say you never preach the converted, right? Yeah. So if you know it, I'll not talk much about SWOT. I'll probably talk for 5 minutes. Maybe there's somebody in the room who doesn't know. We'll talk for 10 minutes and talk about other tools which are similar to SWOT and understand why we should use as marketing students, not as SWOT, right? I mean, everybody knows SWOT. So then we'll talk about the 4 Ps and then eventually do all this. This is entire 18 hours of marketing, or actually this is not 18 hours of marketing. This is the entire marketing gospel. You can go and start doing this is what the whole thing consists of. So the marketing, I guess, we talk about 4 Ps. I don't know how this line came up, 8 Ps, maybe there were 7 Ps. There's no end to the number of Ps that you can have. You can look at it. So we will also look at all these things in what we're going to do. We'll also talk about pest analysis. We'll do some bit of market research. So any questions so far? Are you following me? Or am I putting you to sleep? No. Okay. Back to the same thing. I overstating a point. Yeah, so we'll do SWOT, we'll do all of that. These are slides where I normally want to skip so that you will read it. Okay? The idea is, generally, I don't want you to use another book for reading. This, if you read through my slides, you'll be able to do it. But you want to dig deeper, you want to get a little more specific, then you can read Marketing by Chetan Bhagat, right? No, wrong. Then by whom?
Philip Kotler.
Just saying, yeah, I mean, who knows? Plan B. Okay, see, it keeps, yeah, I will just mention there's a vision here. I didn't paste it there. So, this is the important part of our class. And this is the crux to it. I sent him, what's your name? Prashant. I made Prashant to go and see that. And you notice that that's prominently placed. It's not kept in some corner, that vision mission. You will all go and read it and take a selfie around it, okay? So as a matter of fact, we have to take a selfie more than you guys. We should be aware of what the objective of the organization is. So the vision mission statement says, what is wrong with the world and how do I fix it? Right? All of you came up with some brilliant plans. She came up with a plan saying that she wants to nutritionist recommended food. Why? Why do you want to do it? Because you go ahead. Look at it like this. You what's your company called? The nutritionist. Now let's name it. What do you think is a good name for it? I don't believe we should give it a her name, you know, like private branding. We don't want to. Yeah, so give it a. I had a friend in New Jersey who had a restaurant. Okay, how many of you know Kannada? Quite a few of you. Okay, he had a Kannada restaurant. He had a restaurant with a Kannada name. You read that? Tinisu. Tinisu means what? Feed. But he said it was a double meaning. It was thin is you. Nice name, right? So he said, so maybe that's a name we can think of, right? So that's an interesting name, that thin is you. It also meant tiniso. So the problem, what is the problem that you feel is that people are eating junk food, people are becoming unhealthy. So people are ordering unnecessarily food and wasting it. So the problem statement is we need to set this right. When you set this right, what will happen? When you become a $1 billion Tinisu company, what do you see the world? The world is more healthier, the world is more active, and there are less diseases and things like that. So that is the way that we should think about a vision and mission statement. You get it? How important it is? So just like we want to be a center of excellence, and we trust you, we're going to provide you the greatest facility for you to feel comfortable and relax, chill out, like the way Prashant is sitting. It's perfectly fine. This is not a school. So you can stretch yourself cool and listen to me. As I said, there's no writing or such. So that is what is a vision and mission statement. Now, I think this is something for you to read. But look at some great guys. Look at some great guys who came up with some great vision and great mission. Do you know Elon Musk? Right? I mean, he's doing fine now, right? And Jeff Bezos, who doesn't know him? You give half your salary to him every month, correct? So when was the last time you gave him your money? Last week, Mr. Amazon? Oh, you don't. You. Okay. You're a nice guy. And how many of you know Richard Branson? Virgin Group, and there's an Indian guy who tried to model himself around him called Malia, and he ran into trouble. But Richard Branson is doing well. But look at these guys; these are all revolutionary guys. They are the visionaries. Look at what work he's doing. They are visionaries to an extent that we can use their vision, their mission, and their objective as the best way for us to understand how to design our own vision mission statement. So he says, Elon Musk says, Earth is dying. Earth is really becoming unlivable. You look at what's happening. Lots of things. Global warming, the ozone layer thinning out. There's a hole on the ozone layer. There's a lot of pollution, a lot of things going wrong. So he says, we must get out of this place as fast as possible. We must find an alternative habitable place for the sapiens, for the human beings. So what does he say? Let's find an alternate dwelling for we humans to live. And I believe he's right on track. And like I said in previous class yesterday, I can bet that out of 20 of you in the class, 5 of your children might even fly to Mars. And it's possible. An unimaginable dream 10 years back. 20 years back. So he says, his vision is to make an alternate habitable place for human beings. That's the vision. And what is his mission? His mission is to come up with less expensive rocket launchers, come up with more efficient rockets so that I can reuse them, do hundreds of flights, and should be able to set up a population of this. So one is a vision, then is the mission, and then the objective is what? Make launching of rockets cheap, make space exploration as a cheaper alternative, so it's too expensive. That's what he's saying. Jeff Bezos also says, yes, I understand Earth is dying, but it's my Earth. I'm not going out from here. I'm going to be staying here. I belong here and I'll continue to be here. What I'm going to do is those industries, those factories, those chemical units which are polluting this world, I will move them from this earth. They look crazy. Imagine if I told you that, and very much possible is that most of our polluting plants may now be moved to moon. We might have batteries manufactured in moon so that our earth is more safer. It looks crazy, but it's the craziest of the ideas which give you the best of the results. Otherwise, how would you ever follow it? Right? And all of you know that famous story is that, which is that company that Steve Jobs hated initially, but later on,
Microsoft.
Steve Jobs, he said, my battle with this company is like nuclear war. And which company was he referring to? Obviously. So what the company was, I was about to say, why don't you do a Google search? So the company was Google. Let me remember, why was I trying to say that? Yes, because they are visionaries of the highest extent. What happened was Steve Jobs and Sergey, right? Sergey, they were actually good friends. And at one time, one of the two founders of Google was also sitting in the board of, not here, the board of Apple. One of the guys was sitting in the board of Apple. Now, Google wanted to come up with a phone. Google wanted to come up with a phone. And the phone that they wanted to come up with was something that's going to challenge the BlackBerry. They believed that the BlackBerry and the Palm were the two phones that we had to really challenge ourselves with. So they were frantically working on a model which will go ahead and come up with a phone which would be a challenge to this. And in one of the meetings that the Google guy attended in Apple, one of the engineers showed a phone which didn't even have a keyboard. Look at the vision of Steve Jobs. He said, I'm going to come up with a phone which is not going to have a keyboard. And these guys were running around saying that let's make more nicer keyboards, softer keyboards. So this guy ran back to his team in Google and said, hey guys, we are running behind the wrong thing. Apple is coming up with a phone which doesn't even have a keyboard. And that's something Steve Jobs felt was a breach of trust. And we showed it to you because you're a board member, and maybe he or one of his people were his board member. So that's what happens. You have to be a visionary to think of something that is very, very unique. Okay. So anyway, Earth is my home. I'm going to manufacture in Moon or Mars or whatever. This guy says, I'm a cooler guy. I'm not going to be as business oriented, or not business. I'm not going to. My vision is simple. People are going to get tired of going to Bangkok and Thailand and Maldives and all that. I'm going to make space tourism. I believe that next time he might want to take a holiday, he'll go 15 minutes onto the Carmel line, which is 100 kilometers from Earth, to be able to see the globe in its perfect fashion. That could be a holiday. So he also has a vision. He also has a vision. All three of them have diverse thinking of the space sector. This is something that I thought I should give you as good examples of what it is. Look at what Microsoft is saying. Microsoft vision is to have a personal computer in every home. That's not enough. A personal computer in every home could be an IBM mission statement. It's a personal computer in every home which is running a Microsoft software. And how do they do it? They will use, see, this is the future. The present is to help people and businesses throughout the world to realize their full potential. So this is what is a vision and mission statement. There are some more of them here. This is for you to read about Facebook. But vision changes over time. Like just like I said, plan B, today's vision, you might even go ahead and accomplish it. For example, the initial vision of Airtel, I somehow deleted that line and I'm not able to find it. The initial vision of Airtel was to be the leading telco operator in Delhi. That was a very limited vision that they had. But now look at it. They changed it to be a world class. Now they're no longer thinking Delhi, they're thinking world over. World class telecom services and to delight the customer. Now they even changed it. They modified their vision, made it even more nicer or even more expansive. They said our vision is to enrich the life of our customers. They're not even talking about telecom. Earlier they were talking about tele. Now they are talking about telecom. Now they are not even talking about telecom because telecom itself is a very diverse world. They provide television channels. They provide OTT. They are into banking services. So what do? Our vision is to enrich the lives of our customer. Our obsession is to win the customer for life through an exceptional experience. Well, you may have a different vision, or maybe I'm unhappy with Airtel, but that's beside the point. Is that that's the way that they are heading towards. Now, so this again, what is the big picture and how does the thing look like? These are again mission statements and objective is objective. Objective. Now, if you understood vision and mission, vision is 50 years from now. Mission is 5 years from now. Objective is something that you want to do it year on year. So what could be the objective of, let's say, one of the objective is increase profitability by 10% or increase sales or get into more market share or something like that. So that is objective. Objective is very near term. A mission is slightly higher. And then vision is the finally one. And if you still haven't understood what is vision, mission, and objective, I'll give you one more example which will seal the matter. Okay, what is that example? What is the vision of BJP? Oh, that's too rational. Something Congress Mukt Bharat. They say Congress Mukt Bharat is what they are visualizing. So how do they get to Congress Mukt Bharat? So you know what is their vision? CMB. Right? Now, so that is the vision. How do you go about it?
Because at that time,
By winning,
Congress was leading.
and their mission is to win every election that happens in India in whatever level that is. And what is their objective that they have? How many states did I conquer this year? How many panchayats did I win this year? Or something like that. So I hope you're able to now understand what is the vision, mission. It may not happen. It may not happen that they may not get this vision through, but they would progress by the fact that dream for the stars or go for the moon or something like that, right? That doesn't necessarily mean you can go pick up the apple otherwise. So that is what is mission and vision. Now, do I have something else here? Yeah, so I'm going to give you this. Sure, yeah, I told you last class that you're most welcome to do it. Now, before I go to marketing objectives, I want you all either jointly, you can work together as friends or benchmates and take any one of these and do a vision and mission statement. I'll paste this link and I hope this link works. Yes, so it does work, right? Uh, can any one of you online? I'll paste it on the chat here. Can you copy it and paste it on WhatsApp so that all of you can access it? Can you do it? I say, Yogesh, are you there?
Oh, sir. Got it,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah. So can you paste this link on
Yeah.
WhatsApp?
Okay. Done.
Okay.
I'll do.
So I want to see how good have you understood the subject. You can take any one of them. You can take one of them. Work together. You have a doubt. One is IPL. Other is, I think you can see it. Serum Institute of India. No, you know what they do? Serum Institute of India. Yeah. Then Prestige Builders or Developers, Bangalore Metro, Nike. You don't like any one of them, you pick up your own. Okay. So as you get involved, let me see what are these guys doing. Hi, Christopher. Are you following me? Anshu Berry. Are you listening to my classes? Are you?
Yes, sir, I am. And in fact, filling up the form right now. So
I
this
couldn't
mission,
hear you, but
I,
it's fine. It's fine.
can you hear me now?
Okay. What about Anup, Arun, Bhargava? Bhargava,
Yes, sir.
what do you plan to do? Which of this are you planning to pick up and work on?
Serum Institute of India.
Okay. Kavita, Kirtan and Kirtana, both of you. Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so pick up one of them and take a shot at it. Who else is there? Anybody else? Rajat Sahu. I'm
we'll
just
go with
randomly
Nike.
picking up names. So Rajat, are you following me?
Yes, sir. I'll go with Nike.
Okay. I think I can't hear you very well, but if the answer is yes, fair enough. There's some ground noise here. Vaishnavi,
Yes, sir.
yeah, Vaishnavi, we had I think we talked in the previous class, right? Or
No, sir,
no?
we didn't. No, we
Yeah,
didn't.
no, I don't remember. Okay, anyway, good. Srijit, right. So go ahead, complete it. In the meanwhile, let me see what are you guys responding.
Sir, can anyone paste the link in the group?
I
Again?
can't hear you. Can you just 1 minute? Quiet. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sir, can anyone paste the link again?
Can anyone paste the link again? Can one of you paste the link again?
Yeah.
It just now started working. It had a pre-designed delay. And I have class B, no responses yet, but I guess you'll get it soon. Okay. So what are you both working on? Your own. So which one? On electric vehicle. Electric vehicle. Okay. Okay, I'm going to change your plan. I want you to work on a company called Electric Pay. Electric PE. That's find out what it is. That's a charging station. So all over they are putting up a charging station. Just type Electric Pay. Take that. Okay. What are you working on? You following? Huh? Uba alone? All of you together? Good. Very nice. Bangalore alone. Why? Who is working on Bangalore Metro? Nobody here? Okay, good. And you? You're with Club Mahindra. Good. And what are you all doing? IPL. Okay, okay. Better have a good vision, huh? Oh, IPL 50 years from now. I don't know. Akash. Okay. Yeah, you want to work together, three of you. You don't want, yeah, both of you fill in so that I know that you've worked it. Then a separate form. So then when I see that you haven't done anything. No, I'm just saying. No, no. You put your name and fill it up, but both of you know what you've done. Yeah, yeah. So that technically you've also uploaded the data, right? Yeah. So I will forget that you guys have worked together. Then I'll say, what's your name? I'll say, oh, it looks like Prashant didn't work on this thing. I mean, the guy was so casual. So no, but actually you did. So that's what I'm saying. So upload it. That's all. How much more time do you need? New share. I actually encourage you guys to come to class, the one who are online. At least you should come to one class so that you
I was
get the
planning.
benefits of coming to class.
Yeah.
The 18 chat messages. What's the time? 2:36. That's 1 hour. Where do I stop it? Okay. You done? Well, both of you on Club Mahindra. So why don't you work together? Don't Club Mahindra may have their own vision and mission. The idea is not to use this and to think of yourself as. Are you a Club Mahindra member? No. Huh? Well, what are you said you're working on? Electric, is it? Yeah. You saw their site? Yeah, you saw their site. No, but that's that. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So good. You're researching about it. Okay. How much more time would you need? And 5 minutes enough?
Another 5 minutes. Are you able to hear me?
It takes days to come up with a vision and mission, and I'm pushing you all to do it in 2 or 3 minutes, which is just to give you an idea. Okay, so we have somebody already coming up with Bangalore Metro. Make customer travel safe and short. Mission is to make customer travel quick and affordable. Very nice. Ranjan is here. No, okay. Ranjan is to spread cricket through the world, provide it the required quality and facility. That's nice. Get each year more and more success through plans and engagement. Very nice. Let's see somebody else talking about Bangalore Metro. Reduce traffic in all cities. Provide safe. Reach out to each part of Bangalore. Improve quality transport. Very good. Nike. Bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world to remain the most authentic, connected, distinctive brand. Electric Pay. You guys are working on it? It's your only. EV for a long drive, fast charging, easy availability, eco pocket friendly. Very nice. Good, good, good. Anybody else? Geo, transforming India to the digital world, connecting every Indian with internet. Vaishnavi is talking about Gautam is travel partner, Bangalore Metro, alternate public transport. Good. Another 1 minute and then we'll move on, right? We also have a class to complete, right? And you want a break at 3 o'clock, right? Infosys, somebody has picked up Infosys to help their clients meet their goals through our people, services, and solutions. Good thinking. Services and so clients to meet their information technology challenges, to be a globally accepted corporation that provides the best of the breed. Actually, I have Infosys on the list. Let me see if I can get which one? This or this? Infosys, to be a globally respected corporation to provide the best of the breed solutions. Are you reading this? No. I'm new share. So somebody who wrote about Infosys could actually look at this. This is what Infosys actually wrote. Good thinking, all of you. So let's move forward. Done.
Yes, sir.
So you all have perfectly understood vision, mission. So what's your vision for yourself? For yourself. You haven't thought of it. Yeah, no problem. Huh? Want to be a successful entrepreneur. Perfect. Good. Okay. So pen down or mobile down or laptop down, whatever that is. So having understood vision, mission, let's look at marketing objectives. What are marketing objectives? Marketing objectives, you don't mind me sitting like this, right? Okay. Marketing objectives are those objectives which are in some way aligned with the, okay, listen, guys there, make sure you upload it. But for now, let's pay attention here. Correct? Okay. So there must be some objective with all of us. Some of the marketing objectives could be, for example, increase brand awareness. Many a time we are not aware of the brand. And then only realize that that's a good brand that we were not even aware of. Earlier, my dad would say that if you are an my dad is an old thinking man, and I'm also reasonably old, so you can imagine how old was he then. So he said, if you are a good shoemaker or if you're a good cobbler, the world will come to you. meaning that I will travel a distance to go and meet that tailor or that the guy who stitches a suit or stitches the shoes for me. I would travel that far. That's no longer true. If you do not make yourself noticed, you will be out of business. Brand awareness is a very important thing. They say that there's another saying which says it doesn't pay to be the most beautiful flower in the jungle, but an ordinary looking flower in Lalbagh garden could get 10,000 selfies, right? So you have to make yourself as a brand noticeable. So the marketing objectives could be a brand building exercise. And many a time you notice that the brand building exercise gives great results. And start noticing how Air India would be built as a brand. This is something for you to watch. You're going to be spending another 18 months in this college. So just notice how the brand Air India would now be moved. Earlier, it was a lethargic government organization, wouldn't really care for you. And now watch how the brand would be built up. The brand would be built around the legacy. It would be built about India's own, the Maharaja or that icon would all change there. Just watch how they build the brand. That's one marketing. Eventually, everything boils down to money. And money can only come if you increase your market share. I have now 10% market share in the business that I do. I have to get into 20%. Otherwise, I cannot be stagnant, right? I have to. My employees need greater salaries. The people who have invested their own money into my company, I have to give them higher returns. So it's only possible if I grow. How do I grow? I can only grow when I increase my market share. And many a time, market share doesn't come like that. Like I told you the example that let's build a bigger pie. At some point, the pie is fixed. Market share can only come by killing your competitor. Imagine Geo. Do you think you didn't have a phone before Geo? Of course you had a phone. All of us had a phone. And Geo entered the market. We'll talk about that market also somewhere in the class. But so Geo's market grew not because all of a sudden she and you wanted a third SIM and a fifth SIM. No, you said, I'll throw this BSNL connection or I'll throw this whatever thing and I'm picking up a Geo. So market share sometimes comes at the cost of your competition. And listen, most of the times the competition is not an idiot. They'll also fight to retain their market share. We'll discuss in class 5 or class 6 how this battle happens. Okay, if that is there, the other way to look at it is to launch a new product. How long can you keep on selling the iPod? At some point, you have to come up with something innovative so that the same customer can buy a new product. So we will talk in what is called, I forgot that, Ansoff matrix or something. When we get to the class, we'll talk about it. Is that what are the different ways in which you can increase? She is my customer. So one is she's always buying product A. So now somehow I'll have to convince her to buy product B. That's one way to grow. The other way to grow is I'm only a Bangalore focused company. How do I increase? I would go to be a Chennai also company. That is one way. So many ways we'll discuss. That is entering into new or local markets. It's not enough for me to be in my own market. I have to go there. ID started off as a Bangalore company. And now they have done their best. Now they are going all over the place. And that's obvious growth, right? And then at the end of the day, this is our only objective in life. Increase company's profitability. Or chahiye. That's the only thing that they want. right? Optimize conversion of the funnel. Uh, it's a long subject. We'll just for the moment ignore this point. Then attract new clients, like I told you. Then increase customer loyalty. I want the customer to stay with me. Yeah, earlier the, there was one word which was associated with website was stickiness. But now no longer we use the word stickiness. It's all gone. So when in the early 2000, 2001, how sticky is your website? Meaning that somebody walks into my website, how long does that person stay on my website? Those were the times when websites were pretty new. And then you felt that the guy came here, didn't really like what he wanted, he moved away. But I have to build stickiness into my website. So that is what, how do I continue with this customer who's been loyal to me, and how do I make him to help me increase my sales? So these are the things that we will discuss. Making sense? Same thing explained in greater detail for you. All of them for you to read. Okay. Retain current customers, which is tough. Getting new customers or retaining existing customers is a very, very tough exercise. It's a very, very tough exercise. If I can retain my existing customer, that's the most brilliant thing. And nothing like a word of mouth from an existing customer, right? So when you're trying to buy a product, what would you do? First thing, you look at the product and then look at customer reviews. The first three of them almost gives you, should I buy it or not? Then you like the product, but you don't trust the review. So then lots of things happen, right? Okay. So that is done. And this, of course, you guys done a good job. Pat yourself on your back. Well done. Now, SWOT. Let me know when it's 3. Then we'll continue for another 5 minutes. Okay. So SWOT analysis is strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Is there anybody here who doesn't know this? And it's absolutely fine if you don't know it. That's the whole reason why you're here. And is there anybody online who wants me to go dig detail into it? Anybody? If then or you want me to dig a little bit in detail? Sure. So what happened was SWOT is a very commonly used word. We said that we've always done a SWOT analysis on ourselves. But recently, when I was reading through the Airtel annual report, they didn't do a SWOT analysis. They did what is called a SCOT analysis. They say that we have no weakness. We only have challenges. That's another positively way of looking at things, right? Positive way of looking at things. So one way to look at it is to say strength, weakness, or the challenges that I have, opportunities that open up for me, and the threats that I have. So what's the strength? What is my strength? I am good in manufacturing. I know how efficiently to manufacture with the minimal number of wastage. I believe that I have conquered the just-in-time philosophy of manufacturing, and I do very well there. The challenge that I have is that somehow my suppliers are not delivering in time. And for some reason, while I'm manufacturing it well, my products are not reaching in time where it's wanted. So the challenges or the weakness and strength are internal to me. Who is responsible for it? I'm responsible for it. The problem is I'm such a good employer, but all my employees are on strike. Now, whose problem is it? It's my problem. I need to take care of I believe that I'm the greatest, boss that ever stepped on earth. But then my employees are unhappy. I believe. So there you go. One you must remember is that strength and weaknesses are internal to an organization, and the organization should be able to solve its own problem. Whereas opportunities and threats are what the windows opens up. Okay. So we realized at Dayanand Sagar University that, you know what the report says? One of the report which said came up, which also reminds me, is that it's very difficult for me to speak the same language I spoke yesterday to today. So there's going to be a bit of a difference because I speak impromptu. So many of things that I have spoken there may not be spoken here. Many of the things, like for example, what I'm speaking now is not really spoken there. I want all of you to start reading this guy called Yuval Noah Harari. That's your first of the class assignment. I can type that for you. Start, and I'll tell you what to read. You can, there's a book called, there are lots of books. He has come up with 3 books. It's a very big one, which is 21 challenges for the 21st century or something like that. Okay. So he says, I mean, you just type Yuval Noah Harari and then you know what book you want to read. So he says that 60% of the jobs that you're doing is going to be vanishing in the next 5 years. It gets automated. So what do you do? So, and actually he lists out what kind of jobs are going. And artificial intelligence would come and do away with coding and programming because the guy is smarter than you. So how do you react to such a world? So we believe that the only way for you to react is to improvise your human skills. That's what market management of the whole act of management or MBA is about: managing people, managing relationships. So a HR function is a pure management of people management, right? And no automation can throw you out. That's the thing. And marketing is how do you connect with people, or how do you listen to the views? So those are the opportunities that probably Dayanand Sagar University saw, and they said we should come up with an executive program. So the threats could be something else. Somebody comes up with some other program, and from nowhere, you could be thrown out of it because you didn't comply with certain rules. Or for example, 21 lessons for the 21st century. Yes. So these are the 4 things what the SWOT does. Gives you talks about external conditions which may throw you out. And so there are the S and W are internal, the O and T are external. Okay. We can read more about it. There are some examples that I want you to read through. This is about Apple. They're pretty outdated slides, but just to leave you. But SWOT is just a terminal. You don't like the word SWOT, you can replace it with SOAR. SOAR could, like I said, Airtel did not like the word SWOT. They said we're going to call it SCOT. So now you can say SOAR, strength, opportunity, everything about SOAR is positive looking. We're not talking about threats. We are not talking about weakness. We are saying our strength, our opportunities are aspirational and results. So there still are 2 of them internal, 2 of them external, but just play around with words. Don't pay too much. For example, noise is another terminology that you could use. But what we are going to discuss today is what is called the VRIO model. What is the VRIO model? The VRIO model, I will keep the VRIO model for after the break because that will be another 10-15 minutes of conversation. So we'll take a 15 minutes break or 10 minutes break or 20. Silence could mean that the professor decides and I say, let's continue.
10
10
should be
minutes,
okay,
can we
10.
compromise somewhere?
10 should be
7
okay.
minutes, 8.
10.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
10 is
Let's
okay.
take a 10-minute break. And then it's almost 3 on my 2:58. I will see you at 3:10. Okay. And those of you online, this is the best time for you to talk to the professor. If you have anything that's on your mind, reach me out. We can talk. I'm sitting here. Okay. So having worked on SWOT, and then we realize that SWOT has its own limitation. There's not much that we can play around with. An alternative thought process with a similar intention is VRI. VRI model says that, let me just. So the VRI model says that am I valuable? Do I bring value to the customer? Is there something unique about this that the customer is going to be finding me as a very valuable service? So there used to be what is called surge fee at one time. Ola used to have surge. Now it's heavy traffic. Surge is 3x, 4x, 5x. You have two options. Either that was when there was nothing called online. The whole world was offline. You had to go to office at 9 o'clock or whatever the timing is. And then you notice that yesterday you paid 120 rupees for your Ola, and now Ola says, I am 240 rupees. What's the option? You don't really have an option. You either grumble and take an auto and rough it out, or take your motorbike and rough it out. So Ola believes that I'm so valuable to this company, to my consumer, that he's willing to pay more. So hence he believes that I can afford to charge him. So that is what is valuable. We'll talk about more of it in greater detail. How rare is it? How rare is it? Are you the only guy? If you look at it, the rarity exists in the fact that, and that's the third option that I've given for somebody to work on, is that how polarized is the world today? The world is so polarized that there are only two mobile operating systems. It's Android or iOS, and there's no third option. And I don't know how many of you have been watching, I'm sure all of us are watching the Ukraine war, but can you link the two? Can you link MasterCard, Visa to Russia? What is the quiz question? The payment gateway was stopped. So they believe that I'm going to be able to do this exercise and make sure that, because they're the only two guys, it is not possible for you to come up with a third option unless and until you did it ahead. Of course, India has been smarter. India has really moved in and then come up with what is called the RuPay. Yeah, the Russia is using the Chinese one. So actually, I was tweeting saying that Russia should use RuPay because it almost sounds Russian, right? Yeah. So and those of you who are not following me on Twitter, this is the best time for you to do it. Okay. So what it is? How rare am I? Is it so easy for you to come up with another OS? Impossible. It's so difficult. But that's the challenge that one of the team is going to come up with. Because it's so difficult to imitate. Just because somebody did some piece of work, can you imitate? Can there be another Picasso, or there can be another Leonardo da Vinci, or so what it is? The third is the organization. Is it around us? What does the organization mean? Do you have the money resources? Do you have the people behind you to be able to fight for it? So let's look at a couple of examples to understand the VRIO model. Sometimes a lot of quietness can be, I really would want more interactive sessions. So ask questions, challenge me. The more you challenge, the more it is. You don't ask me, it's okay. My job is to teach and go. It's up to you how you push it. Okay, to all of you, those online as well. So let's look at one example. Let's look at it. The word that VRIVO is associated with is called competitive advantage. So VRIVO and competitive advantage are two related words. Am I valuable to the customer? No, you are not valuable to the customer because there are many other, you don't really care for what services you're providing. The customer is not interested. So there is no competitive advantage. So they will not come to you. But yes, you are really valuable. Like the Ola at 5x, you are valuable because every other known option is going to be a painful exercise. Yes. But can you go ahead and make a 5x, 10x? No, because you're not rare. There is somebody else who's existing. Yeah, no, there is no competitive parity. There are other players in the market. But yes, you are the only guy. You're the only guy who's doing it. Is it costly to imitate? Remember, at one point, somebody wanted to come up with a third service similar to Ola and Uber. It was called Tiger or something. Somebody wanted to do it, saying that we will challenge. Maybe the driver, huh? Yeah, Kumar Swamy wanted to do it, correct. Or he said, I'll support all the drivers and do it. But do you think he'll be successful? The reason why he will not, he believed that yes, the service is valuable. Yes, they are rare. This is the best opportunity for me to enter the market. There are only two players. So why not I go and fight for it? No, because it's very costly to imitate. Ola and Uber took years to gain your faith, build up a network, and they initially were able to onboard you by giving you the third ride free, and they all onboarded the drivers because they gave them more. And now it's not enough for you to be a player in Bangalore. You have, because Ola can do one thing. They can reduce the price of Ola services in Bangalore by 50% and kill what Tiger started. So costly to imitate? No, it's very, very costly to imitate. So then there's going to be a competitive advantage. So finally, what is the organizational capability? Do you have the resources? You need billions of dollars to run another service. Do you have the resources? If the answer for all of them is an yes, then you have a sustained competitive advantage. Am I making sense? I'll give you one easier example, and then we will look at it. All of you know TikTok, right? There's not many who doesn't know TikTok. So now, is TikTok a VRIVO? Is there a VRIVO? Yes, on TikTok. Is there a value to what they do? Billions of guys are using this product, and then it's really a unique product. So definitely there is a value to what they are telling. Yes. Yeah, there are 1 billion users and the endless way in which TikTok can make profit. Oh, I used to love TikTok because it was the best stress buster after 1 hour of work. You want to watch 10 minutes of TikTok. Unfortunately, the government has banned it. So yes, beyond doubt, it's a valuable product. Rarity. Yes, there is YouTube. Yes, there is Instagram. Yes, there is whatever XYZ. But despite that, what they offer is that you only need a phone. You just can very easily upload it. There was simplicity. There was a lot of uniqueness in what they delivered. And so it is definitely a rare product. So you got two, you got a VS, you got an RS. Now, imitability, is it very easy for somebody to come up with a platform similar to that? Very difficult, because they have a huge user base. they already have 1 billion users. There is an Indian equivalent to Twitter called Koo. I don't know how many of you know it. They're struggling to make an entry. It's very, very difficult for you to do it. So yes, they are therefore not easy to imitate. And thirdly, do they have the manpower? Do they have the company behind them? Yeah, that TikTok is owned by a company called ByteDance, which is a $7 billion revenue company. So there's no shortage of money. They can make sure that it works. So when all four of them is in, yes,
Professor,
TikTok is a product with a solid competition.
can I interrupt for a minute, Professor? Hello?
What is that?
Professor Nagendra here. I just have a point on this imitability, right? While the popularity of a new product, picking up the market share, etc., could be difficult. Imitability is not so difficult, right? So, for example, the examples that you took of a competition to TikTok. When India banned TikTok, so immediately, there were 10 different things that came into the market, right? But the advantage, I presume, is the first mover advantage that they had, be it those guys or some other platforms like Facebook for that matter, or things like that, right? But many of these products are very easily imitable, is what I feel.
Right. So if I understand, you say that imitability is something that is not that difficult, right?
Yeah.
Imitability is something that's not very difficult because of the fact that it's now possible for somebody to duplicate what somebody is doing. Just to give you an idea on why the I is not a standalone, and the I has to be seen with the V, R, and O, and not look at it as a singularly standing thing. Long back, I remember watching an interview with what's his name? Sharma. What Sharma is he? Paytm. The owner of Paytm. Oh my God, how can you guys be? What Sharma is he? Vijay Sharma. So Vijay Sharma, I tell you, when the government opened up for private banks or payment banks to start up, Vijay Sharma said, we have our technology in place. We have such a wonderful technology that I believe that overnight it is possible for me. And when they look at Paytm, they believed that they really was delivering value to what they were doing to all their customer. And what was what they wanted to? They wanted to become a bank. And they said that we definitely bring value. We'll bring up some unique features that the other banking industries cannot provide. And I have the backing of a lot of money and probably Alibaba and all that. I can do it. And what is a banking service after all? It's just redoing what everybody is doing. But it might sound very easy, but it was virtually impossible for him to set up a network within the legal framework to be able to come up with a banking service. So in short, it might look like imitation, but it's a very, very tough challenge for you to do it. So again, if one parameter in VRIO doesn't meet it, then the VRIO is a product which doesn't have a competitive advantage. Now, while you may have understood that, I'm going to introduce you to another topic, but briefly, I'll give you an example. Let's say, like we were talking in yesterday's discussion, all of a sudden you see a lot of electric vehicles, right? You say Ather, you say Ola, and Ather has their own problems. Let's assume so that Ather has got some issues. Ola is struggling. they just can't deliver it. And then there is this smart set of two young boys who have come up with a brilliant electric vehicle. For some reason, let's call it some name, okay, XY or something, or XY. So this company XY actually has noticed that we can bring in the value to the customer because the customer needs an electric vehicle. So he has something, and he is come up with some very unique technology which gives them 250 kilometers for a single charge. I don't know how much the other gives. Let's assume that there is a lot of technology that is. And it's not very easy to imitate because he is a proprietary owner of the battery technology and he's doing that. But unfortunately, he is working out of a shed in his house and is only able to produce 10 vehicles a month. So now he's got a V, he's got an R, he's got an I, but he doesn't have an O, because he doesn't have the organizational support to be able to do it. So now, what does he need to complete it? He needs somebody who is going to walk down and tell him that, listen, you continue to do the work you are. I will build up the organization. I'll put up a huge distribution network. I'll set up a factory, because I will give you the money to be able to go ahead and build a large structure. So now, if one of you had a lot of money in your pocket and you had to choose between Ola, Ather, or this company XY, where will you go? You will go to XY because one, those guys are young, you can control them, you can mold them into a fashion, and they already have 3 parameters to be able to decide. So eventually at the end of this class or in the beginning of our class, we will talk about another tool of measurement, which is called the Gardner's Magic Quadrant. The Gardner's Magic Quadrant talks about how do you position a company from a different perspective. There are 2 things a company should be. The company should be agile, fast, running around. Look at what happened to Zoom. When Zoom came up, what was the first thing? If you all remember, at one time, we didn't want to use Zoom. What was the reason? Chinese, they were not safe. They had lots of other issues. And who was doing all this? They were indeed safe. They were indeed not a Chinese company, but it was the competition who was, in a way, in a competition which was pulling out holes in that company. So what did Zoom do? Did they lose the battle or did they win the battle? They largely won the battle because they said, not only are we visionaries, we also have the ability to execute what we can do. So there are 2 parameters that you would do. Well, if I'm on the subject, I'll rather well go there and complete that. What is the time? Okay, plenty of time. Well, on the subject, I'll rather well go and finish it. So a Gardner's Magic Quadrant is a snapshot or an in-depth analysis of how the company is going in the direction and what we should look at. Let's look at the Magic Quadrant. Yeah, I hope you guys can see it. Look at any company that you're looking at. Doesn't matter what company that you are talking about. They are either visionaries, they are either niche players, they're either challengers or they're leaders. They're leaders. Okay. Now, who is a visionary? Okay, this is exactly the part of this syllabus that I have not taught to section A. So that's what happens. Okay, so I'll ensure at the end of the 18 hours, all of you will be in par. But right now, you guys they have not been taught. So there are two. Who is a visionary? A visionary is he knows how the world is going to look at. And many of us are not even visionary. Can you tell me, okay, Professor, you seem to be talking so much. Can you tell me how will the technology be 5 years from now? Sorry, I mean, I have no idea what is it. We are not. Half of us are not visionaries. The very few people have the ability to see 10 years from now, 15 years. So a company which has a completeness of vision, I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly where to take this company. And the most best example of that was Ola. Ola said, I'll come up with the largest two-wheeler plant electric plant in the world or India, I don't know, whatever, in Asia. And that's visionary. They said that we know exactly where the world is heading. The world is heading electric. I'll be a leader. I'll get the love of the people by making it an all-woman organization. And I'm going to set up a huge, completely automated manufacturing facility. That's what he told us 2 years back. And the last 6 months, he's struggling to come up with the scooter, right? We all know it. It's almost there. It's almost there. My friend tells me that he's booked an Ola and he's saying that he just got a message. Your Ola is right there. It's getting assembled and should be there in 3 months. What rubbish. It's just to keep you engaged. So while he may have a completeness of vision, he lacks the ability to execute, right? So what does Ola need? Ola needs a good operational manager. Ola doesn't need any more visionaries. The marketing job is done. Everything is done. They need somebody who's going to pin down and do it. And if you look at it, the similar example of somebody who had vision and the ability to execute is somebody in the similar field that we discussed about Ola. Who's that? Let's see how much of you are that following me on that. Elon Musk. Elon Musk, when he came up with his Tesla, he said that I will be able to manufacture 1 million cars or something like that. And everybody started laughing at it. They say that it will be impossible for him to deliver at the speed that he's talking about. So his car is a complete work of vision. He knows exactly what it is, right? He knows where the whole world is heading towards. And not only that, he's able to execute exactly what it is. And half of us are, my boss used to ask me, Ramesh, are you done with the PPT? Whenever you're doing, sir, almost there. What does almost there means? That I've been thinking. So then finally, no, but Ramesh, kal presentation hai. Oh, ho jayega, boss. And then, I'll find a reason. And oh, by the way, that was a wonderful boss to work with. So I realized in my very early stages that, as a side conversation, that he would give me a work. And I thought he gave me the work because I was the only guy who could do it. And then I'll be sitting on it. And Monday morning, he says, have you done it? I said, almost, giving a finishing touch, meaning that I have to start. Okay. So then he'll come back and say, okay, Ramesh, come here. And he'll call me and he'll show me what he did. So on the VRIO model, I was nowhere on the VR. So some of them, like you when you work with somebody who is a great executor, you get pushed up. So look at all of what Elon Musk has done. He's not only been able to visualize, he's also been able to execute. So a magic quadrant says that somebody who is high on the x-axis, which is on the ability to visualize, high on the y-axis, which is the ability to execute, becomes a leader. But there could be somebody who is kind of a very local player. He's not too ambitious. Nothing wrong with it. He's not too ambitious. He wants to be a local player. He just wants to hang on to one particular market. I'm happy with the South Indian market, or I'm happy with the Indian market. I'll continue to be there. So it is possible for us to take a company which is a niche player and then move them to a leader. But what about challengers? Challengers have the ability to execute, but they don't have the completeness of vision. Meaning that, come to think of it, it just needs one push for Google, one push for Microsoft to get 100 people out there to come up with a product which can match up with Zoom. But they're not doing it because it's a one other product of Google and Microsoft. They're not really too inclined to get into this position. So they are sitting out there, but hanging on because they're really not very sure what they should be doing. So a magic quadrant is one in which you position companies in where these quadrants are. And if you have a company which is a visionary, but sitting down on the ability to execute, you know that you give them the right manpower, you give them the right impetus, you give them the right catalyst, they can go ahead and be a challenger, if not a leader. So in your assignment, you'll have to position yourself in your company as to where you are on this matrix. Okay. So for example, I'm just giving off, for example, if Tata, you've got Tata electric car as one of the assignments, right? So a Tata electric car, Tata is already doing well on their, is it Tata or something else? Yeah. So they are already doing well in all their other products. So they just have to get a little more concentrated to become a leader. So there you go. Any questions on Magic Quadrant? There are a lot of things that are there on Magic Quadrant. I want you to read them. See, what are the parameters? Overall viability, market responsiveness. They're very quick to respond to the market. And they give you great customer experience. They really are good in what they're doing. So, any questions? I hope that's the last on that subject, but we'll go back to where we are. Where were we? Okay, that's 60 minutes or 40 minutes. Okay, perfect. Let me get to the last part of the conversation. So I'm going to give that a miss. So we discussed VRIO, and then we talk about
Professor.
Yeah.
I have one question here, right? When do you choose what model to adopt? Is there kind of a recommendation for that, or in the sense, okay, some companies it is better for them to just do a SWAT. Some companies they should probably look at the VO or any such thing. Is there?
No, there isn't really, but it's always good. I know what you're saying is, should I do a SWOT analysis for my company or should I do a VRIO analysis?
Right. I'm also thinking from the point of view that, at what stage, what would make sense, right? So for example, if I'm thinking of a startup, right? For all we know, I may not have the organization behind me yet. So in such a case, applying this VRIO, does it make sense at all?
Just give me a minute. I tried to speak while drinking. Okay. So what you're saying is you're a startup. But then before you get there, for whom are you doing the SWOT analysis? For yourself? Or are you showing it to somebody?
It is for myself, right? As a company, as a startup owner, right? Let's say.
No. The point is, every tool must have a purpose. A SWOT analysis is something that you can sit at home and do about your own company. I notice I have this strength, I have this weakness. But how do I project my company to an investor? I don't go and tell him that these are my weakness. What you need to tell him is, this is where I am. Should I get your support, I should be able to move to a different level. A SWOT analysis is something that we've lived with all our lives and makes a basic tool for us to understand. But a VRIO tool is meant for you to project yourself in the right position and say that here is what I am bringing into the table. And should I get one of those unique features, I should be able to become a competitive advantage. So the answer to your question is, most SWOT analysis is done internally within the organization or within the marketing team. And whereas the VRIO would be a more external look at things.
Professor Vijay here. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. In short, if my understanding is right, SWOT analysis are for internal growth, and eventually we use VRIO to project to the people.
In a way, there is really, it's not a mathematical rule as to what gets to be applied when, but these are all like different. See, how do I tell you? Eventually, these are learnings that get embedded in your brain. Okay, you may never do a VRIO analysis or a SWOT analysis, but you must know what it is. Can I ask you a question? Do you know what is board mass?
No.
What is board mass?
Yes, sir. It is
Order of
something like,
calculation.
like
So,
a
but
mathematical
have you
equation.
ever used the word board mass? Have you ever used that, saying that this is the way I calculated? I did brackets first, then I put operation,
Yes, sir.
then I did division, and hence, as a chartered accountant, this number is true. You're not saying that, right? These are the whole exercise here is these are tools for you to analyze the situation that you are in. These are tools for you to position yourself in a more standardized way in which you can truly be compared with another organization, or what you are comparing is validated. So I hope I'm able to convey that these will eventually get embedded in your brain. You may not ever use the word VRIO in any of your presentations once you grow up and become a manager. But the VRIO or the SWOT is something that will be always in your brain. So when you do an analysis, you will do using those kind of thinking. I hope I'm able to make sense.
Okay.
There are a lot of yes, but not from the one from whom I want to hear.
Yes, Professor Riaz here.
Yeah.
Professor, I believe that because since it is a developing, development stage of any organization, of course, this is once it is established that, VRIO, that makes sense. But when you see that any developing organization, but I believe that this is a SWOT analysis, that is a more effective and then result oriented, because as long as you don't realize that our weakness, and then first, that is more important. That weakness is very important to understand, that competence, weakness, all this one, market, all this one. So I believe that SWOT analysis is more effective for the developing organization. Once it is established that VRIO makes sense that to take it. And then,
fair enough. If you believe that that's the way you want to go ahead, that's perfectly fine. But if you're not happy with VRIO, if you're not happy with SWOT, you may want to discuss with me about what is called the red ocean or the blue ocean theory. What does this red ocean, blue ocean theory say? That every market has its own uniqueness. Every market is very unique. You can't see this slide very well, but let me try explaining this. There is on the x-axis what is called the pain factor. That means how much pain should I undergo to get some access in the market. So as you can see, the pain element is going to be very heavy when I am on the red ocean, and with all the pain, I may not eventually delight the customer because the customer delight is very, very low. I hope you guys are all following me. So entering a market like a red ocean is like doing harakiri or like committing suicide. Is that you're entering a market where the customer is never going to be happy because the delight level is so very low, and you have to do a lot of pain to get some access into it. But if you look at the other axis, which is the blue ocean, the blue ocean says that it's innovation startup. It says that you can incur very little pain and delight the customer. You don't have to face the challenges that you face in red ocean, and you will absolutely end up delighting the customer. Examples: red ocean is where the seventh salt producing company comes up. There is Tata salt, there is Akar salt, there is Saffola salt, there is some other salt, and then the new guy comes up and says, I am also a salt company. So how does he play in a market which is already crowded with seven? And what is salt? Salt is salt after all. Just because Reliance has come up with salt, I'm sure she's not going to buy, instead of 100 grams, she's not going to consume 500 grams of salt. No, it's not going to do anything. It's you enter a market which is already crowded, a market which is leaky, a market where the profitability are very low, and whatever you do is not going to delight the customer. But people do enter that market despite the fact that they know it, and some of them enter the market and become leaders. Example, Jio. When Jio entered the market, there was BSNL, there was Estel, there was Reliance, there was Vodafone, there was Airtel, there was half another dozen players. And what new thing could Jio do? A phone is a phone after all. We just make calls and do it. But somebody with a market knowledge so deep enters that market, kills everybody else, and establishes himself as a leader and comes up with uniqueness in his product that you actually get delighted by having a Jio phone. So Jio is a phone which said that I'm going to give you live television channels, which was earlier Airtel would never do that for you. So that is what it is. Now a blue ocean is a new technology, is a new service. For example, I can't think of something, maybe artificial intelligence, or let's say the robotics vacuum cleaners. The first guy who comes up with robotic vacuum cleaner in your house enters a market which is virtually open, and you're excited about the fact that that guy walking around, that vacuum cleaner is walking all around the place like a puppy and cleaning up the place. So you get excited. You don't have a challenge. You come up with something new, and the market gets excited. Like the way the market got excited about Alexa, or like the way that the market got excited about some new product, and we virtually ran behind it because we didn't know what to expect, and the market was picking up whatever you gave. So these are the two extremes of how the market behaves. And knowing this will help you to design your products. Well, we have enough of blue and red. I'm going to talk about one more, which is luxury spot, which is yellow. If you look at the yellow, you notice that the pain point is high. But you also notice that the delight is also very high. That means that there's something that you have a lot of players, but the very fact that you are the provider, the customer gets very excited. Example, there are hundreds of manufacturers of watches, but the very fact that you have a Rado watch, you enter a totally different field. Nobody talks how much is the cost of the watch. And a watch is a watch. There's nothing different from the HMT watch that I have. It gives you the same time. But there is this feeling of luxury. There is this feeling of something else which would be there. So you have different zones which are out there. A sweet spot is something where you are an exclusive player in that market. There's nobody else who's playing in that market. For example, Infosys may have a IT division or a software division, which is excellence in banking. So they have the sweet spot. They are not concentrating on other sectors, but they have an exclusive market on that. So, so that's what it is. So now we've done all of the things that I didn't want to do today, and we are moving forward on that. Fair enough. I'll get you guys to read it. We can one fine day catch up on all of them. But so more explanation about red oceans and blue oceans, 355. I wanted to complete something else. So we know what are the 4 P's. What are the 4 P's right here? What is it? So what's a product? What's a product? Which you're going to sell. It could be service also. Example of a service. Ola. Ola, you sure is a service? Ola cab. Is it a service or is it both?
Both.
You like the driver, you don't like the car. It's an Indica. Whenever I book a Ola, I just keep praying. I hope I don't get that Indica. It's either a Etios or a Swift Desire, and then it doesn't really matter if it says that driver's got 4.9. I don't like the car. Okay, so it could be example of both, right? So 2 parameters which is going to please you is the quality of the car and the quality of the driver service. So that's a good example that you pulled out. So it could be a Ola as a car or just a service only. What is an example?
Paytm.
What is that?
Paytm wallet.
Paytm as a service, good. Or urban company, or a lawyer providing you some service, a doctor giving you some advice, is all it is. So what is a place? What is a place? The place where the product is available. Yeah, example of a good, I thought we did somewhere here. Example of a good place and a bad place. Example of a good place and bad place could be you have a good product, but you're somewhere located in a very far away location, so you don't really get the benefit. I wish this guy was located somewhere else. He would have done well. What is promotion? What is it that you do for the world to notice you, right? And of course, price. Price is what? Price is
what you pay.
How much you want the customer to pay you for what you are providing. But one thing that you notice, it's all P, 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 P. So the problem is, and again, I'm switching between classes in a very different way, is that the 4 P's is the way I looked at the world from my viewpoint. My product, it's my price. If my place you come, I'll give you. And I do the promotion the way I want it. I like Shah Rukh Khan. I mean, I guess a lot of you like Shah Rukh Khan, so let's not use Shah Rukh Khan. I like somebody else. So I'll put him on the ad. Doesn't really matter if you guys don't like him, but I like him, so I do it. But that's not going to work. I have to stop looking at the world from my place. So the product has to make sense to the customer. The place has to be convenience. The promotion has to be communication. What am I communicating? And the price is what it costs. So what if it costs me 50 rupees to manufacture? I'm not interested. You give me for 20 or I'll go elsewhere, right? So now what is a product? A product is a service or we will push this out. You know all of this. I'm going to go to a particular slide. The product as such is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 core product, basic product, expected product, augmented product, and a potential product. Okay. So let's look at one item. So the core product was, let's say we came up with the core product is an audio player. I'm just thinking whether that makes sense, but let's go ahead with audio player. The core product is that it's got a speaker. You put your MP3 or whatever, it starts playing it. That's a big core product. I walk into a showroom because I want to listen to music at a good bass and whatever other parameters are. That's the core product. But there is his company which has got a product. There is his company which has got a product. So which one do I buy? All of them provide the same requirement. What is my requirement? Ability to listen to music. Then comes up with another thing. They come up and say that while we provide you, we do have an additional feature on it, is that maybe you can plug in your earphone. That wasn't my initial requirement. But the very fact is that you're coming up with a small variation to what was the original requirement of what the customer wanted. The basic product. Then you come up with a more advanced requirement saying that you can play music online. That means that I'm connected to YouTube or I'm connected to whatever. That becomes what is called a next level of conversation. And beyond this, beyond the core, beyond the basic, beyond the expected, because these are the three things that I knew that you would deliver it, because this is a certain amount of thinking that I have. But the augmented product becomes that, and I never thought you would be able to do it for me, meaning that, so if you buy an Alexa, you even get a notification of your shipment. Wow, that's great. Now I'm not going to buy a Google Nest or whatever is the other, what is the equivalent of Alexa in Google? Google, I'm not going to buy because I want notification. So that augmented product would really be a clincher for the business. Similarly, potential product is that, oh, sir, if you can actually maybe send voice messages from one location to another. So that becomes a potential product. So every product has a core requirement, a basic product, an expected product, and so far. So for example, you have a car. What is the basic requirement? I want to go from place A to place B. I want a good comfortable solution. And then they come up and say, sir, we have got airbags. So that's the differentiator. But tomorrow the government of India may come up and say airbags are compulsory. It's already. So now it's not an expected product. It falls down into a core product that cannot be a differentiator for your car, because that has fallen in. Because I said our car has got seat belts. What rubbish. You have to have seat belts. That's a mandatory feature of a car. So these are the 5 levels of what a potential product is. Any questions on this? Make sense? You guys will read it. Product lives. Yes.
So, Professor Vijay here. So maybe for the potential product, it may be that what is the potential will become a necessary thing for in near future. So how do you differentiate and how do we get through what is potential product for me now?
I didn't quite get what you said, but were you able to maybe you can redefine your question. I know what you said. It's about the potential of a product.
Yeah. The for example, if I take the example of internet was potential product in maybe around 1999, 96, 97, 98. But soon it become as a necessary product for everybody.
Okay. I get what you're saying. So you're saying that initially internet was something that was unimaginable, and now internet has become a very core product.
Yes.
Yes, perfect. So there you go now. You have BSNL, which said that I'll give you phone lines. And by the way, you can use my phone lines to give you a potential product, which was internet. Wow. So I ran and bought myself a BSNL connection. Not so easy. Even my age, you have to wait for 7 years to get a BSNL connection. And by that time, it's no longer a potential product. It's dumped. So what happens? That's the reason why I want to show you this slide, but I'll go back to yours, right? Is to show you that every product has life. Every product has life, and that life is that it can die. So as and when internet, now what did you say in my first class? Roti, kapda, makan, or internet? So now I can't tell you. Now I went to for a holiday last week and they said, sir, we provide you internet. So what? You better be providing internet. It's an assumed factor. We provide you RO water. 20 years back, I would have jumped and said, wow, this hotel gives me RO water. I said, sorry, RO plus UV is what I want now. So as a product develops, as the customer's wants and needs rise, these potential products keep changing. It's no longer enough for BSNL to give me internet. BSNL should be able to give me internet, an SLA level guarantee of 99%, and then say I'll throw in Z5 and Hotstar. So that is what it is. And I'll tell you what, there's something very unique about my internet connection, that your Zoom and FaceTime works perfectly fine in my internet connection. That's brilliant. I want to do Zoom calls with my office, and I want to do FaceTime with my friends. So that's the potential opportunity that we bring in. So I hope you're able to understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So having understood this, let's look at life cycles. So every product has a life cycle. It has a period of initial introduction. It grows. Then there is maturity, and obviously it declines. And we know a lot of it. Every product on the face of this earth does that. Everywhere we try to whip it, it's like, if you don't know the saying about a farmer having an old donkey or an old horse, you keep on whipping it so that it can walk a little bit more, and eventually the product dies. But you try something and it doesn't. But lots of products have survived. Lots of products have survived. Liril, for example, is still a very interesting brand for soap. And Liril has been there for 30 years, 40 years. Somehow that's there. And how much ever Coke may try to kill a product, that product keeps coming up, which is Thumbs Up. Coke never wanted to revive Thumbs Up because Thumbs Up did not belong to Coke. It was a company that they acquired in India. but that product has some uniqueness. I believe that rum with Coke tastes well. So there you go. And not my thought, I'm just telling you. So that's how they, so every product has an introductory phase. In an introductory phase, you don't know how the market is going to react. It could just die there. It could be, what is that? Death on arrival, or it could just be there. Hundreds of Google Glass never saw the light of the day, or it just died. And hundreds of products we know came and just disappeared. Then they have the growth phase. That's when they make a lot of money. The business is running. They're making a lot of money and a lot of people are buying the product. Eventually it matures out. There's no uniqueness about it. And the product eventually dies. Some people try to extend it by doing something, but eventually it all dies. But while you may have understood that, oh, okay, I don't have that slide. Okay. Do I have? Okay. You will note down that that related slide on PLC. Okay. Just tell me. Okay. Related slide. I'll make sure that I have. Two of you will write down. Are you guys tired, or you can hang on for another 15 minutes? Can you? It's 4:10. Technically 4:30, right? But I see a lot of tired faces. Need a 5-minute refresher, or can we go ahead and finish it? Okay. Finish it.
Finish it, sir.
Okay. So if product is what it is, am I going up or down? I'm really not sure whether which page my slides are going. Okay. So we're talking about product. So we discussed enough about the product. We said that the product has got 5 levels. What happened? Okay, good. So enough on the product. Then comes what is called the next one. We talked about product life cycle. I want you to read it. Then comes place. What is place? Place is where the service is available. Now, I'll give this to you to read, but look at these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 locations. What is unique of each of them, and what kind of stuff can you expect at each of them? What can you expect at this grocery store? Of course, groceries, right? I mean, an obvious question. But how many of them are there in a city? Tens and thousands of them. Okay. So what products go there? Products which want to be as close to the user, right? Trust me, if Britannia biscuit is not available in the grocery store next to my house, I'll not buy it. I'll just buy Sunfeast or something like that. So a place becomes very convenient if the value of the item is not very large, but there is a huge consumption factor. So that becomes the place part. Now, this is Giriya's, and this is a place where you have television to be bought. Now, how many of them do you think, what percentage of the first would be the second? 10% of the first one, right? If there are 10,000 outlets of the grocery shops, I guess 100%, not even 10, maybe 1% of them, hundreds of them. What happens here? What happens in this place is that the cost of the product has increased. Not only that, the frequency of use is reduced. Is that I'm not going to buy every alternate day television or a mobile or something like that. It's gone there. So they're going to be a fewer amount of them. compared to the number of TV showrooms, I guess they're going to be even lesser number of car outlets. The best of the brand may have just one. So as you can see, what's happening is it's not that for all products you have to be as close to the consumer. In many a time, depending on what you are, you could be even farther away and not that frequent. Now, what about somebody like Amway and Tupperware and Herbalife? What about that? Where does that fall in? They are networking. So where is it available?
It's virtually everywhere. You can.
Oh, hang on. It reword you, you're all sleepy. So FMCGs are available very close to the buyer. Televisions are available in 1 or 2 kilometer radius. By the way, hotels also have a limitation. You know that. What is that? South Indies. South Indies in Indranagar? Is it? No, but that is South Indies, I think. There's one in Indranagar called that guy. He has a nice restaurant out there. So when I was talking to him, he said the divide in Bangalore is so strong that people in Koramangala are so lazy to come to Indranagar for eating. So even there you have a very large limitation. They don't really have to push. So somebody who's got an outlet in Indranagar will have one more outlet in Koramangala because he has to serve the local, just as a point of reference. So anyway, so Girias, I want you to come back and answer me this very clearly. Very close to the user, a little bit farther from the user, reasonably far because there are very few purchases coming in. And what about Amway, Tupperware, Herbalife? Okay. Who is selling it? So now I give you 30 seconds to give me a proper answer. You.
The user is selling it.
Pardon?
User itself, the customer.
Perfectly fine. The user becomes the selling point. Yes, perfect. Who said that?
Sandhya, sir.
Perfect. Good job. So there you see what is happening. The user is selling the product, and it's virtually everywhere. Why do you have kitty parties? You have kitty parties only to call them to make you buy the Tupperware, and there used to be a period of time 15 years back or 18 years back when my cousins would come back. We lost track of them. They lost track of us. They were in the US, and they would come back and say, "Hey, I'm back in India. Why don't you join us for dinner or tea?" And my wife would be excited. Good to see our old lost cousins. And I noticed not only I'm there, half a dozen are there, and they open up and say, "Amway." Wow, my God. We didn't come here half the way for you to teach me Amway. And that was when Amway was very new. And all the gifts that they brought us were all Amway products. And you know what it is. They were selling their own products. So similarly, that is what is happening. If you understood that, if you're selling Rafale aircrafts, or if you're selling some complicated test instruments, where are you selling it? Targeted audience, but where does it happen? It's at the user's location that you would go and pitch your discussion. You go to the Ministry of Defense and go and tell them, look, this is what our product is. Of course, they'll come and visit you. So a place, why am I giving you such a long story, is that the place depends upon one, how the user wants to reach out, right? I don't mind going and traveling 25 kilometers to pick myself a BMW car because there is no other outlet in my neighborhood. but that's worth the effort because I'm going there. But I wouldn't go 25 kilometers to buy myself a television. I would rather buy something closer home. Okay, so that's what it is. So if this explanation is understood, then I'm sure you will be able to read through one of these. Okay. So promotion, what is promotion? How do you brand your services? There are many ways in which you promote your product. One is by advertising, by giving you some kind of a sales promotion, public relationship. You can read all of these. Spend some time. I'm purposefully rushing through distribution and promotion is because you have a topic called supply chain in your next term, and promotion is as a branding is there somewhere else. So I'm purposefully jumping them. What I will not be jumping, but will be spending a lot of time is on price, but not for today. For price, I'll have another half a class on price because nowhere else in your syllabus are we discussing price. I'll just close it with our discussion on this particular slide and then give you another version of how to look at price. When you look at price, and price is from whose viewpoint? From the
Customer.
seller. For the customer, it is cost. Remember, for the customer, it's cost. What does it cost me? For me, what is price? Okay. There is one element that you need to look at. You can't see the slide very well. It is, there are the cost of the goods sold, then the product price, actual pricing, and the true economic value of the product. Now, if the true economic value of the product is high, but the cost of the service is somewhere here, the customer is going to be delighted. It actually cost me 25,000 rupees, but I'm giving it to you at 22,000 rupees. That's a brilliant sale. How does that work out? Just to give you an example, an economy class ticket costs 15,000 rupees. But I tell you that the business ticket costs 21,000 rupees. Now, the immediate intention, just understand the idea behind it. And don't, we're talking about the idea, and maybe some of this could be debatable, but the idea is 21,000 business class ticket worth it? Depends on how you value the product. Now, when you travel business class, the seats are more comfortable. You are more relaxed. You have a nice, you don't have a middle seat, so you can stretch your legs. There's a lot of gap. So I assume that it cost me 3,000 rupees, worth it. Additional 3,000 rupees, I don't mind paying for it. Because you're a business class guy, you can come as late as possible and check in. You don't have to hurry through it. You don't have to get up very early in the morning. You can get up half an hour later, and then so on. So when you start putting what are the other additional costs that I will have to pay if I take an economy class ticket, because your luggage will never come in time. If you're in economy class, yours will always be the last luggage coming out, right? That's a fact of life. So if you add all of that, I believe it cost me 8,500 rupees additional. So if I add 8,500 rupees to 15,000, it becomes 23,500. So when the business class ticket is at 21,000, you believe you have a good deal. That's subject to how you visualize all this. This is one element of price. I didn't want to keep my slide on the 4-piece vacant without a price. We'll talk about everything about price in the next class. I guess that's all for today. Any questions? Very quiet. No? Good. But I need 2 questions, otherwise you're not going. 2 questions online and 2 questions right here. You can ask on anything. You can ask on the assignment. You can ask on the
Professor,
weather.
I have.
You can ask
I
what's
don't.
going to happen. Today is supposed to be a good badminton match. So you can ask her anything, but I need to see you open up. Tough,
Hello,
right?
Professor. Hello, Professor.
Marketing as a trend, what happens is, good question. Things like Red Ocean, things like VRIO are relatively newer concepts. That doesn't mean that they came in last 6 months back. As a matter of fact, things like, things like business model canvas, which sometime we will spend talking about, Red Ocean, Blue Ocean, are concepts which came up over the last 10 years. Typically in the academic world, 10 years is very fast, because by the time the idea comes up, gets diluted and is actually taught, takes a very. What I am trying to do is that, for example, Red Ocean and Blue Ocean was never taught 3 terms back. There was those guys who graduated from my class 3 terms back, they didn't even know what was a Red Ocean. The guys who graduated 2 terms back, they didn't even know what's a Gardner's Magic Quadrant. So what I am trying to do is to bring this thinking to you. Now, what I want to leave is very early stage. This is like nursery. So I want to make sure that you guys understand the vastness of the subject and the fact that this subject is very dynamic. It's constantly changing. So that's the point. Okay, good. Anyone was trying to ask me something online?
Yeah, Professor, I don't know if it is a question or something in my head. See, in spite of all these frameworks, there are failures, there are decisions that go wrong. So is there some other session, where we cover some such thing, or, how does all those fit into all this analysis and all that kind of thing? The example, I mean, if I have to just quote, I just kept thinking, right, okay, that when we spoke about the products and uniqueness and all, Red Ocean for that matter. So Google, like, when they tried to get into the mobile, right, in spite of having all the organization behind them, their known brand, etc., I think they have failed miserably, right?
Right.
And I'm guessing that they would have done enough analysis of before they got into that and all of that. So in spite of all such things, what happens, right? Or what goes wrong, or what could they have done differently? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, surely. I don't know if you guys understood what he was saying, is that when there's so much of tools available, how do companies fail? There's so many. Isn't that what you're saying? That's
right. That's right. Correct.
That's right. So how there's so many tools available, why do companies fail? There is really no magic. What you're trying to do is to minimize the unknown elements in your business. You have to minimize the unknowns. But how much can you minimize? I mean, I can't, I don't understand why would Paytm fail? And why would Google come up as the last player and be a dominant player? And just to give you an example, all of them are equally brilliant, right? I mean, the Paytm is very brilliant. Anybody else is very brilliant. When you look at Phone Pay per se, Phone Pay is a product of Flipkart. Phone Pay is a product of Flipkart. It was now, of course, it's hived off as a separate company. Just to give you how complex the world is, I'll give you a couple of examples and then we'll wound up. Is okay, I got another example, and so we'll get 2 examples. Sorry, I'm going to take 5 minutes of your time. So is that when Walmart picked up Flipkart, they were only evaluating Flipkart. Wow, Flipkart is a competitor to Amazon. Flipkart has got Myntra. So let's value Flipkart. Let's value Flipkart. And all the time when Walmart was interested in Flipkart, they didn't know that along with Flipkart, there's going to be a toddler, hardly grown up, just still struggling, not even able to walk, a toddler called PhonePe. Now, overnight, that PhonePe, maybe by smart management, maybe by the fact that they got some very uniqueness in their position, was able to come up and become virtually a big player. So now the value of PhonePe is probably as much, if not greater than Flipkart. So many things go wrong, right or wrong. I don't know how many of you have known about a company called a car called Qute, Qute, by Bajaj. Give me, why should Bajaj fail? Everything about Bajaj is Indian. Bajaj's pulse on the Indian crowd or the Indian user is perfect. For the last 50, 60, 70 years, they know exactly what the customer wants. They have delivered the top of the class, whether it's debatable top of the class or not, but they have done that. And they come up with Qute. I believe there's nothing wrong with Qute.
So
just
Qute is
that,
the
yes,
product.
please.
I've seen the product. The product is worse than a auto.
No,
So
we get to
it's a
that
very
later.
small
We'll
segment.
get to the product part of it, but let me tell you what it is. They wanted to address the auto market. They wanted to be an auto. They don't want you to drive it. They wanted every auto fellow to upgrade himself to a four-wheeler. But they sat on that product waiting for the most perfect time to launch it. And within 6 months of them launching it, the pandemic broke up. So how much ever planning you do, sometimes there are parameters which go out of control. So yes, it is true that we do market research, but there is no one formula for success. And sometimes you get it. Which one? Nano, Tato, we discussed it. I mean, we didn't really do well. And then from nowhere does one car come up and become a leader. We never thought of them as doing that. Right? Okay. Is that answer your question? Wait, silence is an S, right? We'll take it as an S. At this time, it's definitely an S. Okay, good. So I'll see you guys 2 weeks from now. And it's very hard for me to speak exactly the way I spoke in the other class, but I'll make sure that none of you are losing out on the thing. Or maybe we can have a joint session of parliament. Or Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. Are you Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha? Okay. Okay. No, call me. Don't call me. You by email is good. Send me a WhatsApp message. On that particular WhatsApp, I'm a little slow, but typically a professor's response within 24 hours is considered super fast.